welcome to yet another Edelweiss Connect classroom session. And the topic that we have chosen for this session, I think, is a very pertinent and important topic. We've named it the road to retirement planning. Retirement, I think we all either wish to or want to or will have to, if we are in any professional life like I am, retire at some point in time, right? And hence retirement and to ensure a comfortable, stress-free, financially independent life post-retirement should be something which should be a focus and a very important of our as we are working. And hence, very honestly, if you honestly ask me, I think it is one of the most important goals that all of us should focus upon, plan for while we are in the course of working. And that is perhaps one very strong reason why we thought of doing a separate topic predominantly focusing on retirement planning. We spoke about goals in one of our previous sessions where we spoke about various goals, right? But retirement, like I was telling you just a moment ago, is perhaps one of our most important financial goals. And hence, I think it is very important for all of us to not only understand the necessity, the need to plan for our individual retirement, but also get sensitized to the steps that we all need to take in order to be very successful at this important goal. And that's predominantly going to be my endeavor with this session, to help us all understand this concept of and the need for retirement planning better. This is what our coverage for the session will be. We'll start with what retirement planning is. We'll talk about why should you plan for your retirement. We'll talk about when should you plan, when should you start planning for your retirement. How much do you need? The big question in most of our minds would be how much is going to be sufficient. So we'll try and see if we can figure that out. Steps to retirement planning, what would happen if you don't plan, and lastly we'll talk of the benefits if you have a successful retirement plan. As usual, for any queries or questions that you have, you may put it in the chat, and I'll be more than willing and happy to respond to each one of them towards the end of our session. Let us begin with answering the first question of what is retirement planning. Simply, I mean, if I were to just simply put, retirement planning is about ensuring that I have a sufficient corpus created for my life post-retirement when my active income ends. Right. So it would involve determining how much do I need, how much do I need to accumulate, how many years do I have in order to ensure that I am able to accumulate sufficiently. And it would also, ensure, it would also be to look at how many years do I have to plan for to ensure that I have a smooth, comfortable, and a stress-free retirement. So that's predominantly what retirement planning is. If I were to just sum it up once again, it's about having an understanding of how much of an amount is what you need to ensure that your post-retirement, post-work life is a comfortable, secure, and financially independent, stress-free life. Why should you plan for it? I mean, like I said, it is perhaps your biggest and most important investment for survival and living comfortably post when you retire. right? So a lot of us may be wanting to retire early. A lot of us may be wanting to retire, uh, right? I mean, I may want to continue working till the time I'm allowed to, till the time I'm physically okay. A lot of things, but I mean, if I were to create a plan, it should ensure that I am able to look at whenever I plan to retire, the next life as a comfortable life, and hence it's something which is very very important. One very very important fact that we all should also keep in mind is that as per WHO, the average lifespan of us Indians is increasing. It's now averaging something between 75 and 80. So even if I were to retire at 60, what would that mean is I'm now going to probably live for about 15, 20 years post-retirement comfortably. Right. And that's a pretty decently long period. And hence, when my active income stops, I need to ensure that I have sufficiently created a corpus to ensure that I am able to spend those 15, 20 years well. So that's one reason. One reason obviously is that in India we don't have social security, so we have to create for our own selves. We have to fund our own retirement. We have to ensure that all our needs are taken care of by our own, and hence planning for each and every goal, including retirement, is a very very important part. We've moved to nuclear family setups primarily because our houses have become small and whatever reasons it may be. But what this also means is that our dependencies on external or extended families is now reduced substantially. So hence, each nuclear family has to fund for its own selves. You may have children, you may not have children. If you don't have children, then obviously you may not want to be dependent on them. Even if you have children, a lot of us may not want to be dependent on them because we don't want to be a burden on anyone. And maybe children stay with us, maybe children stay outside, in other cities, other countries, and hence another strong reason why I need to ensure and create a sufficient corpus to for me to not be dependent on anyone else. Lifestyle changes have happened in the recent past. We've all elevated our lifestyle as per as our income, and we would obviously want to continue maintaining that lifestyle. But we also all understand that this lifestyle expansion comes at a cost. Today, I'm earning well, so I can afford that cost. And obviously, tomorrow, when my active income is probably not as much as it was today, I would still like to maintain it. And how would I be able to maintain it? I would only be able to maintain it when I have created sufficiently well to ensure that that I have sufficient money available to manage that lifestyle. So again, to manage my lifestyle needs, I would need to create a corpus which satiates my elevated lifestyle. Coming to a question which probably would be in a lot of our minds: when should I start planning for retirement? Frankly speaking, sooner or earlier the better. If we haven't yet, then my very very humble request to all of us would be that we should start today. We should start at the earliest and not delay any further. The sooner you start, the longer time you have to plan your retirement, the more easier, the more stress-free can be your planning, and hence, the better corpus creation probability is what you're giving to your investments. How much do you need? Now, this is one question which a lot of people would have in their minds, right? And it's a question which perhaps a lot of people get worried with, get scared of, and hence don't think of. So I'm going to give you two ways in which you can do this. Right. One is a very, very simple ballpark way, not very accurate, but it's a good start to a good start. And that is, whatever is your annual income today, take 80% of that. So for example, if I am earning 20 lakh rupees a year, 80% of that is 16 lakh rupees, and then multiplied by 20. So assuming that I will survive for another 20 years post-retirement. So 16 into 20 is 3.2 crores. So a rough number to start with, that what is my requirement post-retirement, how much should I have, is about 3.2 crores. Now, this is a very, very rough estimate. There is nothing over here which is scientifically correct or anything where you will know exactly what your costs are or anything, but this is a good start. I mean, so this is a mental thing which all of us can do today. If I were to just find out a rough number of what should be my retirement corpus, this can be a starting point, right? Another way in which how you can do this, is more accurate, more practical, more where you decide on what is the age where you want to retire, look at your current cost. Even better would be to split your current costs of living into discretionary and non-discretionary. Discretionary is something which you can cut. So if you can cut those expenses future, then you remove them. Non-discretionary or non-negotiable, I need this money. So that's the one which you take. You can still keep some discretionary costs over there because you may still want to travel. In fact, people say that I may want to travel more after retirement. I may want to get entertained more after retirement. So these are some costs which may go up. Estimate your future cost. So keeping a number of inflation in mind, you can estimate your future cost. Basis that future cost, looking at the number of years that you think that you would need to ensure that cost is available. You find out what your corpus requirement at your retirement age should be. And once you know your corpus requirement, then you try to calculate what should be your investment amount today. It could be one lump sum, it could be regular investments through a monthly plan, through a yearly plan, whatever is comfortable to you, to ensure that this corpus gets created. Now, this is a far more accurate way. This is a far more, this is a way in which you would know exactly what the number is in a far more accurate manner. If you're good with, calculators, Excel, you could do it yourself. You could use a retirement calculator, or you may even want to go to a financial advisor who can help you in understanding all of this and give you a number, that your corpus should be, probably even help you with your investments to ensure that this corpus gets created. So this is another way in which you could do this, and this will help you put a number, which I think is a very, very important thing, because the big question for a lot of us on a lot of occasions has actually been how much is sufficient. Now, that is a question which a lot of people, like I said, sometimes get very scared, get very worried, because they start thinking, I have not done anything yet, so I'll probably look at it later, somehow or the other I'll manage. Maybe you'll be able to manage, maybe you'll not be able to manage. But if I really want to ensure a comfortable retirement, this is a question which you would have to face, you would have to find answers to. And that is why I've given you two ways. One is, have a rough estimate right away. Your annual income, take 80% of that and multiply it by 20. So the example which I gave you was, if your annual income is 20 lakh rupees, take 80% of that, that is 16 lakh rupees. And 20 years, so multiply that by 20, that's about 3.2 crores is what your retirement corpus should roughly be right now. That's a very, very rough number to start with. It's not accurate, but it's a start. It gives you an idea of what you need to create. If you want to get into more details, get into more accurate numbers, then this is the process that you follow. You have an estimate of when you would want to retire. Split you obviously know how much your expenses today are. If you can split them into discretionary and non-discretionary, that also helps you in ensuring that your non-discretionary, non-negotiable expenses are something which you take care of. Calculate future costs, looking at inflation. Post that, have an idea of what your corpus should be like. And then once you know the corpus, you can then look at what investments can help you create that corpus. You could either do it yourself. If you're good with Excel, you're good with calculations, you have a retirement calculator, or you could get to somebody who is a financial advisor expert to help you do this more accurately. But please, I mean, like I said earlier, when should you do it? Don't delay this, because this is a very, very important and perhaps one of the larger expenses which you would need, uh, especially when your income sources are not very regular, and hence you would have to feed this, you have to fend these expenses on your own. And that is why it is something which I started with saying that this is perhaps one of the most important financial goals that we all should fend for. So this is, I mean, do this calculation. It is a very, very important calculation for you to have an idea of what should be your corpus requirement of how much do you need for a comfortable, stress-free retirement life or post-retirement life, post-work life. Okay, steps, like I said, you create a plan, decide how much you need to set aside every month, choose the right investments that will help you create this. And once you've done all of this, don't forget that you should keep on checking and checking on your investments regularly review your investment portfolio to ensure that it is on course. If there are some changes, adjustments, rebalancing that you need to do to ensure that this plan that you have created is auguring well with your risk appetite, is fitting into the risk that you are comfortable taking with your investments, then it is very, very important that you keep on regularly reviewing it, regularly rebalancing this portfolio so that it is in that zone where you are deriving the comfort that it is something which is a doable thing. So this is your simple steps that we all should follow when it comes to our retirement plan. What happens if you don't, plan? I mean, let's assume that I don't plan. What could happen, right? I may be dependent on my children to ensure that my needs are taken care of. Now, for a lot of us, we may not be very comfortable with this idea, right? We've been working, been financially independent for so long, taking our financial decisions on our own, taking a lot of decisions on our own, and being dependent on anyone, whether it is our own children or anyone else, may not be something which we may be very comfortable or like the idea. And hence, this is some, to avoid a scenario like this, I think we must look at successfully planning our retirement. That's one thing. Second thing, I may need to downsize my lifestyle, obviously, because I don't have the money. I would have to, downsize my way of living or the way I want to spend my money, because now I don't have enough. So whatever I have, I will have to save to ensure that they last longer, that money lasts longer. So that would obviously mean that some downsizing in terms of my lifestyle will have to be taken into account. I may, if I have a spare room, I may take somebody who can stay with us, and that would add to my income. So that's one way that I can then have some income coming. I may need to continue working part-time. So because now this part-time working, for a lot of people, they may want to continue working always because, they don't like the idea of just sitting at home and not doing anything. But that's not because I need to get that money. That's probably because I just want to keep myself occupied. But over here, this part-time work is predominantly because I know that I need that extra funding to ensure that, I am able to sustain my day-to-day regular needs. So that's the difference between the two. So over here, I may need to be forcibly probably continue working part-time or full-time. I may take up whatever jobs I get to ensure that I'm having a certain income. So that's another scenario which may play out. And lastly, because I know that I don't have the funds, retirement as an option may not even be on the table. I know somewhere then that, excuse me, I may need to continue working. I need to continue working. And so I may continue doing something on the other and not even want to bring this topic of retirement, because somewhere then I know that I probably do not have sufficiently I have probably not sufficiently invested. I have probably not sufficiently saved to ensure that I can lead a comfortable life post working, or post when I decide I want to stop working. So some people may want to continue working for as long as they can. Now that's different. I mean, I'm continuing to work because I like it. I want to keep myself busy. It keeps, everything going. That's a different scenario. But doing this because I know I don't have an option is different. So over here, maybe retirement may not even be on the table. So that's something, that's also something which is a scenario which you need to keep in mind. So these are probable scenarios or probable ways in which you would look at retirement if, unfortunately, maybe you do not have a sufficient corpus which you have created to ensure a successful retirement. Okay. Lastly, what are your benefits if you do successfully plan your retirement? And the number one benefit that it gives you is this financial independence. Right. Like I was saying, we've been, for a lot of us, we may have started working at about 21, 23, some earlier, some probably a couple of years later, and even if I look at, 60, so for a lot of us, we've been working for about 45, 47 odd years. In these 45, 47 odd years, by the time you retire at 60, you've been used to financial independence. You've been used to deciding on how you want to spend your money, where you want to spend your money, when you want to spend your money. And I've got used to that idea, right? That I decide of what I'm doing with my money. And I want to continue with that idea. I want to continue living like this. So I love this financial independence. If I want to continue living in that financial independence space, I need to ensure that I have a sufficient corpus that I have created. This corpus leads to ensuring peace of mind. So whenever any one of us is short of funds, I'm sure, if any one of us has been in a situation where you're feeling that you're a little short of funds also, there's been a lot of stress that gets added, because you start wondering, from where do I arrange for this money? Do I have any investments that I can remove this money from? Do I have any hidden savings? Because you never like the idea of being short. It just adds a different level of stress in a lot of our minds. Right. So if I want to ensure that I don't get this stress and I have this peace of mind, with me post-retirement, I need to ensure that I have a successful and sufficient retirement plan created and a sufficient corpus created. Because I have a corpus, we all have been, I'm sure we've been reading about inflation and how inflation means that, things are going to get costlier and, my purchasing power of my money is coming down. If I successfully plan my retirement, then I'll be able to successfully navigate and manage inflation and the inflationary costs. And that obviously is something which all of us want. So while we are working, we are managing this inflationary cost because our income goes up, so from that, we keep on, paying for the same things, which are becoming expensive on a year-on-year basis. And we understand that part, but all of this gets managed well during the course of our work life because our income levels also keep on rising gradually, right? When we are not earning, we need to ensure that we have kept this inflation, in the inflationary number in mind, so that I am able to manage and navigate through these inflationary costs better. A lot of us also want to leave something as inheritance or legacy for our children. So if I have planned well, I can, through a successful retirement plan, also ensure that I can do that. I mean, you may want to leave your house, right? I mean, and because you plan to manage your expenses well, that house then stays as an asset. If, let's say, you just do a house, you ensure that your children have got great education, and they're doing well on their own. You have a house in which you're staying, and you manage your inflation. Well, that house can also become your inheritance or legacy, even if there's nothing else, right? But because then that house remains, for your inheritors, as your legacy, or as your gift to them. Ensuring a successful retirement plan also opens up legacy opportunities where you can plan of what you want to leave, how much you want to leave, and for whom. So that's something which can help. A successful retirement plan can also help a lot of us achieve this dream of early retirement. So we are all working in offices where we've been reading that today it's becoming very stressful scenarios, and there are people reaching burnout very soon. If I want to ensure that, or if I wish for an early retirement, then all the more reasons why I need to plan for a successful retirement. So even if I retire at 60, or some people will say I want to retire at 45, and I want to do so many other things post that. I have a long bucket list which I want to go through in my life, and that will only happen if I have a sufficient corpus and I can retire early. You want to enjoy and live all through your dreams and ensure that you take all the items on your bucket list, then you need to ensure that you have a successful retirement plan. And lastly, if you want to lead your life as per your own terms, then it is again very, very pertinent that you have a successful retirement plan. So these are some very, very simple but very, very important benefits which we all stand to derive if I am able to successfully find out what my retirement corpus should be. I'm able to create an investment plan, stick to it during the course of that journey, and ensure that I have sufficiently created a corpus to lead a stress-free, comfortable, and a financially independent post-retirement life. So this is what I predominantly had for you in this session on retirement planning. I would love to first take your questions and respond to each one of them before we can, end our this session today. If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. I'll be more than happy to respond to each and every of your questions and queries. Okay, there is a question of, can you touch base more on the inflation part? So inflation, as we all know, is the cost of goods and services, and the cost of goods and services, we've seen a marginal increase in the cost of goods and services over a period of time, right? And hence, today when I am working, how do I manage this increased cost? I mean, I increase my income also gradually, for most of us moves up, and because they move up, it becomes so with this increase in income, I have been able to manage my inflationary costs. Post retirement, what happens is my I don't have a regular source of income, right? And hence, having an estimate of how inflation will mean that if, let's say, I need 1 lakh rupees today, as my monthly expense, and let's say there is a 5% inflation, so next year same time I may need 1 lakh 5,000 rupees. So what I need to ensure is I am able to have this extra 5%. So I can't have a constant 1 lakh rupees and then say 1 lakh rupees every month. So 12 lakh rupees a year, 12 lakh rupees a year into, let's say, 20 years is, 12 into 2 is 2.4. So I need 2.4 crores. I would need to have that, inflationary thing also somewhere. And hence managing that inflation is something which we all should be looking at. Right. Suggested investments. So there are lots of mutual funds, are a great vehicle for long-term investments. Is one very, very easy thing. NPS is another thing which a lot of people look at as investments, to be very honest, for retirement. So I mean, these two are something which are very, very common in the investment world when it comes to your retirement investment avenues. Which type of funds, so that's something which has to be very, very specific. Over the long term, if you have a longer horizon, you may want to be more on equity, but I think the right asset allocation strategy is something which you should deploy and not be skewed only in one asset class. So in that sense, I would suggest that if you could speak to a financial expert or a financial advisor, that would be something which will help you, derive a good retirement plan. The question that I was looking at, what type of funds will be suitable? So funds, which funds, and what should be your allocation, should be something pertaining to how much risk are you taking, how much is your corpus requirement, because of which how much risk would you need to take. There are a lot of things which would need to be addressed first, and only then, will you be able to create something which is more of an asset allocation. What should be the average inflation number while calculating post-retirement cost? So the average inflation number, what RBI looks at a comfortable inflation number, is 4% plus minus 2. So I think a 4% plus minus 2. So 4% should not, could be an easy number to start with. But if you think you want to look at 5, anything between 4 to 5% usually works. Okay, so there is a question for retirement. Could you give an ideal percentage-wise investment in different financial instruments like insurance, stocks, FDs, MFs, bonds, etc.? A light on this will be helpful. To be very honest, there is no ballpark, right? That you should have an X percentage in mutual fund, you should have an X percentage in stocks, you should have an X percentage in fixed income. That is a very, very personal, and that is why asset allocation and a personal risk assessment, personal understanding of how much a person needs, for investing becomes very, very important. So there is no ballpark which I can unfortunately give you. It has to be something which every one of us has to understand individually what my requirement is. If I can't do that, like I said, you could sit with a financial advisor, financial expert. He or she can look at your current lifestyle, give you an idea of what is your corpus requirements, basis your corpus requirements, create an asset allocation across investments, across different investment avenues and investment vehicles, and create something which can help you reach for your retirement goals successfully. So there's a question: when a person starts his or her career, is it a good time to think about retirement? Yes, like I said, the earlier the better. So if you can start as early as when you start working, it would be the best decision that you would make. So yes, why not? I mean, you can start at as early as possible. What is meant by retirement corpus? Corpus is the amount. What is the amount that you need to ensure a successful retirement? So, so corpus is the total amount that you need. So that's what a retirement corpus would be, retirement amount. What is the total amount that you need to accumulate? Okay, so what are the best options? Asset classes considering long term. Asset classes considering long term. So long term, equity has been an asset class which has shown, in long term as being one of the best, giving one of the best returns over the long term. So in that sense, equity should have a major chunk of your investment if you're looking at a long term investment. Okay, what should be the strategy to combat inflation? Be frugal in your spends. Don't overspend. Are some very simple principles that we were taught when we were small and we were children, that you should think before spending, and those principles still work. There's a question: what should be the ideal retirement age? Okay, ideal retirement age. The mandatory retirement age for most professionals will be 60. Is 60. So we all will retire at 60. Ideal, I mean, it's a very person-centric thing. Somebody may think I want to retire at 40, 45, 50. It's very personal. So I don't know if there is an ideal retirement age, to be very honest. Okay, so I guess those were all the questions. I hope I've been able to respond to all of them, and given you the responses to help you understand this very important need to ensure that we all plan for our successful retirements, and you have a little more clarity on this thing called retirement planning. And on that note, I'd like to say thank you once again to all of you for your time. As usual, it was a pleasure. We'll connect once again in the coming month with another interesting topic, which we'll bring to you, and hopefully that's something which will also be of interest to you. So on that note, thank you once again. See you. Bye-bye.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.